Well, good afternoon, everyone. As Melissa said, my name is Delisa, and I'm the exercise coordinator as well as a boxing instructor with Parkinson Association of the Rockies. Um, I have been with the organization since 2019. So just give you just a little bio, a little background about myself. So in 2019, I came on as a boxing instructor for the organization. At the time, I owned my own gym, and I had a niece who was teaching boxing. She was also training with me at the time. And she was telling me about this great boxing program that she was doing for the Parkinson Association. And so I wanted to learn more about it. It really excited me. We have a family history of Parkinson's, and as well as my small little farming town in Nebraska, pretty, a lot of diagnosis of Parkinson's in our community. So I knew this was something I was really interested in getting involved with. So March of 2019, started my boxing class in my facility, and then have just been going with it since. So twice a week, I instruct the class with my group of about 15 to 20 people, and it is 2 of the best hours of my week. So I love it. And then in 2022, I came on as a contract exercise metrics tester. So we partnered with CU, the physical therapy research department there, and we started an exercise metrics testing study. And what we kind of wanted to see from this is how our exercise classes are helping our community and how they're benefiting our community. So I'm going to delve into this a little bit more when I get to that part in my presentation. But I was trained by the physical therapy department to conduct these tests, and there were 4 physical tests. So I went to each of our, well, I think we went to right around 28-ish classes. And I did these tests with the participants who wanted to participate in the study and gathered the metrics. When I was done with the testing, I sent each participant home with a questionnaire. And that questionnaire was to capture more of the social and community kind of aspect of Parkinson's. So we were getting that piece of it as well as the physical component also. So that's when I started in 2022. I did that for about a year before I came on full time as the exercise coordinator. And so been doing that since January of 2023 and love it. I still get to teach my classes, and then I also get to help people find exercise classes and introduce them to exercise if they haven't already had an exercise background. So I do really enjoy my position. Right now, this says 80. When I did this in May, we had 80 weekly exercise classes. Now we are up to 83. And those are our classes throughout Colorado and into Wyoming as well. We just expanded out on the Eastern Plains out in Sterling, so very excited about that. So Western Slope to the Eastern Plains, up into Wyoming, Fort Collins, down into Pueblo. And then we have right around 55 to 60 instructors that we work with who help us with the classes that we offer. And like I said before, just people call in, just helping to guide people to classes, answer questions about our classes, and then to help them get registered. And again, I'll kind of go through a little bit more of that in my presentation as well. And as I said before, working with University of Colorado and our exercise metrics. So the agenda. So kind of what we're going to cover today is we're going to look a little bit about how exercise has been proven to help slow the progression of PD, how certain exercises can help with both the motor and non-motor symptoms of PD. Then I'll just kind of briefly go over our exercise metric results. Oh, are you too fast or I'm too slow? And then anybody who wants to participate, we're going to do a group exercise demonstration. So boxing is my passion. So we're going to do a little bit of boxing basics and maybe some other things we'll just kind of throw in there too. So we'll get up and we'll get to be a little interactive as well. So here we go. Why exercise? So studies have linked exercise to reduce risk of PD and then to also help slower that progression. Physical activity can also improve motor capacity. And physical activity can also enhance non-motor symptoms by helping to maybe alleviate some cognitive impairment, improve depression, anxiety, hopefully to lessen that feeling of isolation, and hopefully to help improve sleep as well. So these are some questions I get asked from time to time is, are there specific exercises that help to benefit specific motor symptoms? And so what we look at is, sorry, public speaking is not really my thing. So I have my notes here. So I'm just going to kind of peek at my notes. And so I apologize. But really what we're looking at is what is safe and what can be enjoyable for you. And then we also want to look at when picking like an exercise routine is what can help manage your personal symptoms as well. So we can look at different exercises that might help, like with balance. These are just examples. A lot of different activities and exercises can help with balance, but something we might say is a class that focuses like Tai Chi or yoga can help with balance. If you're looking at something like more of a lack of coordination or agility, maybe trying a boxing or a dancing class. Now, you know, a lot of these classes can also incorporate balance as well, or, you know, the coordination and agility. But with boxing and dancing, we really find the coordination and agility comes into play with those specific activities. If you're looking at more limited mobility, or maybe even more like balance concerns, maybe looking at a seated aerobic exercise or water aerobics as well. And I tell people never underestimate seated exercises. If that's where you need to be that day, you can get a lot out of it and a lot of benefit out of a seated exercise as well. If there's freezing of gait, you might want to look into like a physical therapy program that can help with those specific motor symptoms. And we also would say maybe look at a class such as Big for Life, something that incorporates more big movements. And we do offer a Big for Life class. It is considered a maintenance class. So it is a class that you can take once you graduate from their program. And if you're ever interested in learning more about Big for Life, if you're not already familiar with it, please don't ever hesitate to reach out and ask. And then any dystonia or anything like that, you may want to definitely look at some lower impact exercises. Again, water aerobics is very gentle on those joints and muscles. And then anything like walking, again, Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates. So those are really good options for those specific motor symptoms. And then looking at non-motor symptoms and exercise. So a lot of exercise and activity can really help with the cognitive function. And this can be helped by just learning a new skill or a new exercise. I know, for example, like tailoring some of our exercises in our classes to really work on memory and thinking. I know a lot of our instructors do a wonderful job with this in our classes. They just, for example, they may have you doing a physical activity while working on thinking, working on that cognition. So for example, they might have you just balancing on one leg. And I've seen this in some of our classes, tossing a tennis ball or bouncing a tennis ball to a partner. And as you're doing that, the instructor may say, okay, everybody, before you bounce or toss that tennis ball while you're trying to stand on that one foot or kick standing that one foot, name name, like a first name that starts with the letter A. So you have to come up with that name, toss the tennis ball, then your partner comes up with their name, and you toss back and forth, and then maybe switch to a new exercise doing squats or something. And now we're going to name a name that starts with the letter B. So these are just examples of things where you're working both the physical and the cognition part of that exercise. So that's a lot of fun adding those pieces into our workouts. So again, like that multitasking, like we stated with boxing and dancing, where you're learning these new movements, like in boxing per se, and we're going to see this when we do our interactive time together, is learning, if you're not familiar with boxing, learning the names or the numbers of the punches, and then putting that into a sequence or a combination of punches. So a lot of different components to that. So, and then again, too, you know, like we mentioned before with exercise, it can help to alleviate stress and anxiety, a wonderful social outlet, and just building that community, being involved with a community that might be, you know, dealing with a lot of the same things you're dealing with. So those are some of those examples there. All right. So how much exercise? So we like to say with this is, what is your recommended exercise dosage? So we always first say, before you start with a new exercise program, you know, it might be a good idea to talk to your doctor, your neurologist, and they can maybe also help you too to kind of lead or guide you to something they might, a specific exercise or program that they might feel could really benefit you. And then with that, like we said, if you are taking PD specific medication, we like to say kind of treat exercise like your medication. You don't want to miss a dose. You don't want to miss a dosage of your exercise. So what we found is the recommend amount of exercise per week is 2.5 to 3 hours. And we're looking at, like any of the aerobic conditioning, is getting that heart rate up. You want to look at 30 minutes about 3 times a week. And then strength training or resistance training, again, 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. And then we recommend with that strength training to not do it on consecutive days. Give your muscle fibers, give that muscle fiber time to repair and recover. And then stretching or flexibility exercises, if you can do that daily, that's great. And then to also include balance training into your routine. And if you can do that about 2 times a week, that is what is recommended. And I don't know if this is on here. So something else I kind of want to throw in here as well is a lot of, like, sometimes I'll get this, am I exercising enough? And a lot of times what we'll like to recommend to, especially if you're new to exercising and working out, is maybe get a baseline or an assessment with a physical therapist, kind of see where you're starting, and then kind of build upon that, maybe every 6 months or so, whatever is recommended by the therapist. Just kind of see how you're going. How are you progressing? How are things looking? And then you can kind of look at tweaking things from there. And then also looking at your, if you're taking, again, PD specific medication, look at what is a good time, like an on time for you to work out. And, you know, for a lot of people that can be 30 minutes to an hour after taking their medication. Of course, everybody's a little different, but keeping that in mind too, when you're thinking about when to work out, is like with your PD medication. And also, are there certain times a day where you feel a little more energized, you feel a little bit more motivated to work out? Kind of keeping all of those things in mind as well. So then, tips to getting started. I was going to ask this at the beginning. Are anybody in here already exercising, either with our classes, our Parkinson's Association sponsored classes, or knew you looked familiar? Great, good. What class do you take again? Oh, well, perfect. You still look familiar to me though, so. But you take classes as well? Perfect. I guess I should just say exercise. It doesn't necessarily need to be group group classes or group fitness, but just, yeah, even walking on your own, if you golf or anything like that. Anyone else? Good.
Yeah.
What's that, walking?
Lots of
Perfect,
Zoom
great, good,
exercises.
good. Well,
And
fantastic.
Pilates
So
and
something, especially for when you're newly diagnosed, there's a lot to take in already, and then you're being really encouraged to exercise. And for people who maybe have not really exercised much in the past, we're kind of looking at some tips, just some suggestions to help you get started into this routine. So what we say is, if you haven't already started, try to start as soon as you can. But try not to wait any longer. And watch for that exercise, that routine, whatever it is that is really enjoyable for you. And then next, we recommend, and this is more specific to our classes or to a group class, is you can observe before participating. If it's one of our sponsored classes or another community class, maybe talk to that instructor, see if you can go in, if you can observe the class, see how you feel about the class. And then maybe at that point too, meet the instructor, ask the instructor questions. And then we always suggest next is, don't bring a family member, bring a friend with you. That's so beneficial in so many ways. It can be just to help get you in the door, just kind of that extra, just kind of encouragement, motivation, and also a great way to just keep you accountable as well. And it's another opportunity to meet other people in the PD community. Again, like I was talking earlier, I know, and I can speak for my class for sure, and I've seen in a lot of other classes as well, it's a great time for people to kind of get together, talk. They might ask each other questions. So it's just great to get involved in that community. And if you're not sure about getting into a live class, an in-person class, try a virtual class. I know we offer right around 15 virtual classes each week. And I know there are a lot of other community Parkinson-specific exercise classes out there too that also offer virtual classes. And try different classes, try different formats, try different exercises, different workouts. Maybe kind of step outside your comfort zone, what they always say, and maybe look at something that you've never thought you'd ever do before. I know so many of my boxers said, I never thought once in my life I would ever be boxing, and now they're hooked. So maybe try something. I know I tried Zumba because I have no coordination, and I served as a lot of entertainment for that class, let me tell you. It was something. And then go easy. Don't just go into everything full speed. Give yourself time to adjust to the class. And I tell people too, especially if you're starting something new, don't be afraid to journal how you're feeling after these classes. Write it down. And it's also when you journal these things and you I slept so much better that night, or my appetite was better, or whatever it might be. It's a great way too to kind of see how exercise might be helping you. Or it might be like, oh, I was really sore after that class, and maybe you need to just kind of take it back a little bit. So great way just to kind of track that. And then let exercise empower you to just live that best quality of life that you can. And finally, have fun. Have fun with it and enjoy it. So that's why we really encourage trying out different things. See what you find that will help keep you motivated and keep you consistent. So next, I'm going to talk a little bit about signing up for our Parkinson Association of the Rockies sponsored exercise classes. So before joining our classes, we do have 2 waivers that we require. And I forgot to also mention this too. All of our classes are at no charge to those who have been diagnosed with Parkinson's, as well as a care partner. So we would need a general liability waiver for both parties. And it's just a basic waiver that we have you sign and fill out and sign before attending your first class. And then we also have a medical consent form that you will deliver to your neurologist or your primary care physician, somebody who really knows where you are right now and can answer the questions on that medical release form. Sorry, I didn't bring any examples, but that form, we just like to have that back. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't start with us yet. We just like to have that back, like maybe within a week or two after starting your first class. And it just really helps us to see what your physician is recommending or not recommending as far as class formats, as well if there's any restrictions or anything our instructors need to kind of watch for in the classes. So we do also share that information with our instructors only, just to let them know what the doctor is recommending. Then we have a platform called Wellness Living. And this platform is what we use for our class schedule and then for our participants to register. So each participant of our classes gets a profile in Wellness Living. And that's how we can get you signed up for our classes. And that's how we track our classes, track our attendance, because we just want to make sure that we kind of see how attendance is going. If classes are canceled, we can make sure to keep everyone in good communication with that, to keep everyone informed of any changes such as that. And then we will register you for any of the classes you're interested in. So we have a list of our classes. We have a list, and we forgot to bring that list today, but you can always call in. I'm happy to get it's a list of our classes with description, because it's a lot of wording to put into our PDF schedule and Wellness Living schedule. So we have a separate form with that. So if you're ever curious to know specific descriptions of the classes, just let me know. I'd be happy to get that over to you. And then start attending. We'll get y'all set up and ready to go. So I was just going to briefly touch upon our exercise metrics that I was discussing at the beginning. We started January of 2022. Again, the goal was to find how our classes are benefiting those with Parkinson's. And we tested right around 125 people in 23 classes. I thought it was more than that, but anyway, 23 classes. And here we were wrapping up our 5th round when we put this PowerPoint together, but I actually just wrapped up our 5th round, 2.5 years of testing last month. So we got to our final class last month, and now I'm going around to those classes, and I am delivering the final outcomes, the metrics that we collected, everything that we discovered through the testing over the last 2.5 years, and just started to deliver those outcomes this month. And we did 4 physical tests with each participant, and then that questionnaire that I mentioned in the beginning. And what we found, perfect, good. I couldn't remember if this was on here. So what we found, and this was our initial findings. So this was our first 2 points of testing. So from January 22 to like September 22 in that area is the 6 months, excuse me, July of 22 is when I went back out, June, July of 22 is that 6-month period here is what this data is from. So what we found with all of this is these were the tests that we conducted. So we did a 10-meter walk test, so just a standard 10-meter walk test. And we tested both at a comfortable speed, and then we tested at a faster speed that our participants could do safely. And then the tug test is the timed up and go test. So it was from a seated position, standing up, walking 3 meters, turning, and then coming back and sitting back down in that chair. And then 30 seconds sit to stand. So I don't know if many of you have done that test before with a physical therapist or anything, but it's just timed at 30 seconds. The participant stood up out of the chair, sat all the way back down in the chair, continued to sit to stand for 30 seconds, and we counted out those reps. So what we found with this is that most people remain stable over those 6 months. So we saw the testing where they didn't see any change, where there was a small improvement on that 10-meter fast, but they found that it was probably not meaningful. And then the same with the 30-second sit to stand, maybe a small worsening, but again, probably not meaningful. This one we kind of looked at that might have been skewed a little bit, where we allowed them to cheat a little bit at the beginning, like the first 2 testing points that we did. And so when we made them slow down in the future tests, it kind of might have changed those reps or skewed those reps a little bit. But again, that's what we found. And so far with the few classes that we have looked at the data for the whole 5 metric rounds, we're still so far seeing pretty much the same thing, that people were saying pretty stable. So that's the metrics piece. I think now, if we have questions before we move on to getting up and moving a little bit, bored you all, we can get up and move and wake up a little bit. Does anybody have any questions I might be able to answer? You just want to, yes. Do you think the fact that people is depression in a way? So, oh, what was the?
Is it holding the Parkinson's at bay just because they are remaining stable rather than having breath?
So, let me see if I can ask that. Or are we finding that that exercising is keeping them stable and holding maybe the progression at bay? I mean, based on the metrics that we performed and what the physical therapy department there, the research department with this, we would say, I mean, that's what we're looking at is yes, that we would look at that exercise could be helping those people. Now, you know, there could be a lot of other things involved in that as well, but with what our numbers found, that is what they concluded with. I don't know if that answers your question very well. Anyone else? Okay. Well, if you would all like to, we have plenty of time. If you'd all like to just do a little, just get up and move a little bit, we can kind of work through some, we do like a little warm up and then do some boxing, just some basic boxing drills. And if you don't want to stand, you can remain seated. And I know it looks like the chairs are on wheels. So I tell people, you know, if you need to hold on to maybe the table or something, you're more than welcome to do that. So if you'd like to join in, I'd invite everyone to go ahead and stand up. Well, you're going to learn. If you want to or not, you're going to learn. Okay. So what we're going to start with, and this is where I tell people, especially, you know, if you want to hold on, again, just remember, if you're holding onto the chairs, they do have wheels, so just keep that in mind. So if you need to use the table or anything else, you can definitely use something to help balance yourselves. So we're going to do, this light is like, I'm trying to get to a place where everyone can see me. This light is kind of blinding me. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our toe to heel rocks. So we're going to roll onto the balls of our feet, kind of coming up onto the tiptoes as high as you can, and then rolling back onto the heels. So this is where, if you need to hold on, rolling back onto the heels. So when you're rolling back onto the heels, you really want to lift those toes up to the ceiling. So coming onto the balls of the feet, and then rolling back onto the heels. Lift those toes up. Good. So just kind of rock back and forth. I find I get a much better stretch when I'm holding on, especially when you have heels on. Good. So just do a few of these. No, we're not going to do a lot of footwork. We're still just going to get those ankles warmed up. Lower part of the leg warmed up. We've been sitting. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is we're just going to start with a march in place. So just driving that knee up as high as you can. So we'll just start with the lower body. We're going to add those arms in here in a moment. Good. So again, if you need to hold on, that's fine. And just pull those knees up as high as you can. So if you can only get it so far, if you can't get it quite up to the hips, that's okay. All right, now let's start incorporating our arms. So what I want you to do is to punch up to the ceiling with the opposite arm. So the opposite arm is really going to reach up to the ceiling. Good. So I want you to get that arm as extended as you can, like you want to punch those ceiling tiles right up. Good. Good. There you go. Good. Yep. And if you need to stop and get that opposite arm going, that's fine. Just going to do a few more of these. Good. And relax. All right, go ahead. Just let those arms, just roll those shoulders out. All right, the next thing we're going to do now are, I call them butt kickers. So you're going to kick yourselves in the butt, okay? So you're going to pull one heel up and you're going to reach that, like you're going to bring that heel. Something too I tell people is put your hands right on that fanny. And so your palms are facing in, facing out. And you're going to kick your heel up to just kind of kick that palm. Again, if you can't hit your palm, that's okay. So we're going to start here, but again, we're going to incorporate our arms here in a moment. So do the best you can when you kick up so that the knee point towards the floor. Good. All right. So now we're going to do little bicep curls with our arms. So again, think opposite hand to that opposite leg. See? Took me a moment. So you're going to curl that thumb to the shoulder while you're kicking that heel back. Good. Good. There you go. So we're just kind of stretching out the front of our legs. There you go. Do a few more of these. Then we're going to get some T rotations going here. So we're going to get some rotational movement because working on this, you guys can go ahead and just shake it out, relax for a little bit. So working this T rotation we're going to do next is a really good exercise and a good way to incorporate what we're going to be doing with some of our punches coming up. So what I'm going to have you do is bring your arms out in a T. So palms forward, relax those shoulders down. Don't let those shoulders creep up to your ears. Think of rolling those shoulder blades down and back. You can walk your feet out as wide as you need to, so you have a good stable base, okay? So you want those feet out pretty wide. All right, so what I'm going to have you do, let's all start on our right side. So I'll face this way. So we're going to turn our right toes towards the left side of the room. So I'm going to start with my toes. I'm going to turn my knee, my hip, my shoulder, so I can bring that right hand across and clap that left hand. So yep, we should all be facing the window. Good. Now we're going to come back to center, open it up. Now we're going to repeat this on the left side. So start with the left toes, turning towards the right, toes, knee, hip, shoulder, clap. Open it up big and wide here. So now as you pivot, turn, nice big clap. Let me hear you. Good. Shoulders relaxed, turn, just go at your pace and clap. Good. So I want you to focus that you are turning those toes with the rest of your body. So starting from the ground up. Good. Let's do like 2 more here. Rotate, clap. Good. 1 more. Face the other side of the room and relax. All right, drop those arms down. We'll do a couple shoulder rolls here. All right, the next thing we're going to do is walk the plank. So this one is, we're going to start just standing normal, and you're going to step 1 foot in the other. And think of the heel coming in front of that toe. So if you can touch the heel to the toe, and then repeat with the other leg, step it in front, toe to heel. or heel to toe, toe to heel. Good. And just step in front. Now, something we can do if you're running out of room is, this is one I caution if you don't feel comfortable going backwards, either hold on or just don't try it, but you can either go backwards with it or just turn around and do the same thing back. Good. And do your best to look forward. Try not to watch your toes. Good. Let's just do that again one more time. Sing toe to heel. Good. Do the best you can to get that foot out in front. Because the more narrow you keep it, the more unsteady you are. So that's why that's challenging. And again, you can either turn around and go back to your starting point or try it backwards if you feel like you can do that safely. Nice, everyone. Good. Good, good, good. That last one in. Oh, nice. Y'all feel like you're a little warmed up? A little bit? Let's just do a few squats just to get our hips going here a little bit more. So when we're doing our squats, I'm just going to encourage everyone to get their feet out as wide as what's comfortable. We all have different mobility in our heels, our knees, our back, and everything. So find a good stance that feels comfortable for you with your feet. And we're going to take a seat in our imaginary chair. So remember, it's imaginary, so don't go all the way down. So you're going to sit it down. So you're keeping your chest up, pushing your hips back, and then we're going to stand up. As you stand up, let those arms come back. Good. So sit down, push the hips back, chest stays nice and high, up, and kind of think explode up. Good. Down, and kind of hold for a little bit, and then explode up, power up. Good. As you power up, give a little squeeze in those glutes, up. Good. And we'll go a few more. And bring it up. Good. Let's go one more. Down, hold it. You guys have some nice squats. Oh, I didn't say up. This is like Simon Says here. And up. Good. All right, shake it out, everyone. Okay, so we're just going to get into just some very basic boxing drills. So with boxing, we have two stances that we can work with. It depends on if you're right or left-handed or what you're comfortable with. So basically, right-handed people are usually in our orthodox stance. And we say that because our right hand is our power hand. And this will kind of start making sense as we go into it. Now, if you're more comfortable, or if you're a left-handed person and your left hand might be more dominant, your left side might be more dominant, then that is our southpaw stance. So our orthodox stance, we're going to, let's just start with our feet about hip shoulder width apart, maybe more hip width apart. What we're going to do here is our left leg is going to stay in front. We're going to take that right leg and just step it back just slightly and at an angle. So we're looking at a little bit between, like right around shoulder width. You don't want to go more than shoulder width or you're going to have it too wide. So you're going to kind of find a comfortable stance. You're at an angle in your stance, left foot in front, right foot is behind you. So if you're too narrow, you're going to be really off base or off balance. If you're too wide, you're going to find it hard to do the punches, which we'll see here in a moment. So now, if you're a lefty, if you're a southpaw, same thing, only now we're going to step that left leg back. So left leg back, again, you're at a slight angle with your feet. And right here, whichever stance is more comfortable for you, that is going to be your stance with your feet. So everybody go ahead and find that stance with your feet. And we're just going to kind of work our way up here in our basic boxing stance. So now the next thing we're going to do, we want to kind of think those hips are going to be more squared to the front of the room. And we're going to bring those hands right up under the chin. Like right here, you don't want them way up here. You don't want them way down here. So just right about at the chin. Elbows are inside best you can. And right here, you got your chin tucked a little bit. And you want your weight to feel very centered. You don't want to be shifted too far forward or too far back or too far to either side. Just nice and centered right here. This is our basic stance right here. Keep those shoulders relaxed, chin slightly tucked right here. So you're kind of light on those feet. You don't want to be stiff or stuck. So you're just kind of nice and light. So just let yourself shift that weight kind of from the front foot to the back foot. Good. So right here, Basic boxing stance. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start incorporating our punches. So some of our classes, we call out our punches by their name. Some classes call them out by numbers. So we're going to do a little bit of both today. So from here, that lead hand, that lead foot, that's our jab, or if we're using numbers, our 1. So that lead hand, lead arm is our jab, or our 1. So what you want to think is you're going to extend that arm straight out in front, two middle knuckles straight out, facing straight forward. Good. Yep, the thumb is over. We have boxing gloves on usually in our classes, but yep, you never want that thumb clasped underneath the fingers, always on the outside of the fingers. And right here's our jab. Cross hand stays by the chin, and you bring it back. Elbows stay in, and then jab again, or 1. Straight out, 2 middle knuckles right in front of you, just about nose chin level, and bring it back. Good. So jab or 1, bring it back. Good. Jab, 1, good. And bring it back. Let's do one more. And bring it back. Good. So we want to focus on extending those punches. You just want to be very careful and aware that you're not hyperextending your joints. So just make sure you got that extension, but you're not locking your elbow or shoulder out. Okay, stay in your stance. We're going to get to our cross punch. So from our stance, now that's our back arm. This arm right here is going to be our cross punch. So again, from our chin, now this is what we were practicing in our T rotation. We're going to start from that back toe and work our way up in our rotation. So we're going to smash the bug with that back toe. And then we're going to rotate from toe, knee, hip, shoulder, cross punch. So you're turning that back part of your body from the toe to the shoulder. So smash that bug. So when you start with the toes, it's easier for the rest of your body to move with that punch. Just like the jab, straight out, 2 middle knuckles, straight ahead. You're aiming for that nose and chin, and bring it back. All of our boxing is non-contact. That's just for visual purposes, okay? Straight out and bring it back. Good. Work on that rotation. And even if you need to just slow it down and go from toe to shoulder, that's fine. Slow it down. So this is our cross punch, or if we're using numbers, our 2, okay? Good. Let's do a couple more. And then we're going to put our 1, 2, or jab cross together. All right. So just shake that out a little bit. Here we go. Jab cross, 1, 2 punch. Okay. So start in your stance. Check your feet. Check everything. Elbows in. Hands are up. All right. So we're going to throw 1, 2 punch. So jab cross. Jab cross, or 1, 2. I know. I'm throwing a lot out there. So remember, 2 middle knuckles straight ahead. Good. Bring it back. Jab cross. Feel free to say it with me. Use your voice. Jab cross. Good. Or if you want to say 1, 2, that's fine. That's fine. Bring it back. Elbows in. Turn those hips and shoulders on that cross. Cross. Good. Jab. Cross. Good. It helps you breathe too when you say it. A lot of people hold their breath when they box. Got to remind people, breathe. Cross. Good. Do a couple more. We're going to do a couple more punches and then we'll be done. Jab. Cross. Good. Shake it out. All right. We're going to do some hooks next. So again, everything is from our stance. So our hooks is a punch now that is coming to the side of the body. So just again, for visual purposes only, it's coming to the side, like to the jaw, or just think like the rib cage, so the side. So with our hooks from our hands up, we're going to lift that. We're going to start by lifting that elbow up, bringing that arm across and through. So you're almost at a 90 degree, maybe a little wider than 90. I recommend like you're holding a mug, thumb up. But if it feels better, have your thumb in, palm down. That's fine too. Elbows up, and then you bring it right back. So we'll start with that lead hook, or our 3, bring it through, and then right back. Good. So bring it through. And as you get the feel for it, you can start turning the hip and shoulder with it. And again, remember, when we're rotating, we're starting at the toe, turning it all the way through. Good. And then bring it back. So this is our lead hook, or our 3. Good. Let's do a couple more. Hook it through. One more, and then we'll get that rear arm and relax. Okay. So let's get that rear hook, or our 4. Okay, so rear hook, same thing, only now we're using that back arm and punching through that 90-degree angle, lift that elbow, punch it through. Good, and then bring it back. Nice, good. So you notice when you get the lower body involved, you're not just using the arm, you get the whole body involved, which is what we want to do. Get a lot more muscle involvement, a lot more cardiovascular work. Bring it through. Good. Let's do one more and bring it back. All right. So let's just go with our jab, cross, lead hook, rear hook. We'll just make everything very basic. So jab, so that lead arm, cross, smash that bug, lead hook, through, good, bring it back, and then right hook. Bring those elbows back. You keep those arms out here for a while, your shoulders are gonna burn real fast. So jab, cross, lead hook, and rear hook. There you go. Go at your pace. You don't need to match me. You can go slower. Jab, cross, and those hips and shoulders through, and hook. Good. Let's do two more. Then we're just gonna throw some defense in because it's fun, and then we'll be, my time's gonna be wrapped up. Let's do one more. Jab, cross, hook, and hook. Beautiful. Okay, so we're just gonna do a little defense, then we're gonna be done here. So we're gonna do our rolls. So in boxing, this is our defense. We're rolling underneath those hooks that we just threw. So imagine you're using your legs and you're just drawing the letter U with your body. Okay, so you're moving from back to front, front to back. You want to keep your chest up. You never want to use your back or look at the ground. Always have your target in sight. And just think, use those legs to dip yourself down, down, pop up on the other side. Down, pop up on the other side. There you go. And you don't need to dip low. You don't need to dip low. Good. Let's do a couple more. All right, now let's add our punches to this. So we're going to throw that jab cross. You're going to roll, come back up, jab cross. Now roll the other direction. I don't care which way you roll first, just roll both ways. Jab cross, roll to one direction, jab cross, roll to the other direction. There you go. Jab cross, roll, get reset here, jab cross, and roll. All right, we're just gonna burn everyone out here. We're gonna do like 15 seconds of just as fast as those jab crosses you can throw. Really work on getting that extension, okay? 15 seconds, ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is where you can use your voice too. Nobody wants to use their voice. Okay, that's fine. 1, 2, 1, 2. 5 seconds. Can you go a little faster? I bet you can. Bet you can. 3, 2, and 1. Good job. I know I worked up a sweat. Nice work, everyone. Well, thanks for playing along. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all going to go join a boxing class now, right? We're all going pro now.